Be me, 28 years old. Work as a senior backend developer at a logistics software company in Seattle. Love the job because it pays well and allows me to solve complex puzzles all day. The office culture was traditionally very relaxed and meritocratic. We wore hoodies, drank too much coffee, and judged each other solely on the quality of our code. My boss, Marcus, was a 40-year-old former coder who understood that happy developers mean bug-free software. Everything was going perfectly until the company started expanding rapidly. Upper management decided we needed a structured human resources department to handle the influx of new hires. Enter Vanessa. Vanessa was hired as the new director of people and culture. She was around 30 years old, always dressed in sharp, expensive blazers, and carried an air of absolute moral superiority. Her resume was filled with buzzwords about inclusivity, synergy, and transformative workplace dynamics. Within the first week, she sent out a company-wide email detailing a new zero-tolerance policy for microaggressions. Most of us just deleted the email and went back to work. I kept my head down, focused on my tickets, and tried to stay off her radar. I am a quiet guy, generally polite, raised to open doors for people and say please and thank you. I treat everyone the same regardless of who they are. Apparently, that was my first mistake. About a month into her tenure, Vanessa started roaming the floor like a shark looking for wounded prey. She would stand behind developers, watching them work, taking notes on a tablet. It was unnerving. One Tuesday afternoon, I was helping a junior developer named Sophie. Sophie is brilliant, 23 years old, fresh out of college, and eager to learn. She was stuck on a database migration issue that was throwing cryptic errors. I rolled my chair over to her desk to help her debug. We were laughing because the error was caused by a missing semicolon, the classic blunder. I pointed at the screen and said, "There it is, you just need to force the commit after the syntax fix, simple stuff." Sophie laughed and said, "I feel so dumb, thanks Liam." I smiled and replied, "Don't worry about it, man, we have all been there." Suddenly, a shadow fell over us. It was Vanessa. She cleared her throat loudly. Sophie looked up, startled. Vanessa looked at me with cold, dead eyes. She said, "Liam, can I speak with you in my office? Now." The tone was not a request, it was a summons. I looked at Sophie, shrugged, and followed Vanessa to the glass-walled office at the corner of the floor. I sat down, and she didn't offer me water or coffee. She sat behind her desk, folded her hands, and stared at me for a full minute. Finally, she spoke. "I heard what you said to Sophie." I was confused. "You mean about the database commit?" Vanessa narrowed her eyes. "No, I mean the gendered language you used to dismiss her experiences." I blinked, genuinely baffled. "I'm sorry, I don't follow," she sighed, as if explaining quantum physics to a toddler. "You called her man, Sophie is a female. By using male-centric terminology, you are subconsciously enforcing the patriarchy and erasing her identity as a woman in tech." I almost laughed, thinking she was joking. Her face remained stone cold. I realized she was serious. "Vanessa, it's just a figure of speech. I call everyone man, dude, guys. It is not gendered to me, it is just how I talk." "Intent does not equal impact, Liam," she recited robotically. And then you told her simple stuff. That is classic gaslighting and mansplaining. You are minimizing the difficulty of her task to make her feel incompetent. She found a bug, I helped her fix it, and we laughed about it. "Sophie and I are friends. Power dynamics prevent her from being your friend. You are a senior, she is a junior. She cannot consent to your casual disrespect because she fears for her job." I felt a headache forming behind my eyes. "Okay, Vanessa, I will try to be more mindful of my language." "You will do more than try. I am noting this as a verbal warning on your file. If this behavior continues, we will move to formal disciplinary action." I walked out of her office shaking my head. I went back to my desk and put my headphones on, turning the music up loud to drown out the absurdity. Sophie messaged me on Slack. "Everything okay?" She looked mad. I typed back, "Yeah, just some HR administrative stuff." No worries, I didn't want to drag Sophie into it. Over the next few weeks, the atmosphere in the office shifted. People stopped joking around. The open-plan office, once buzzing with chatter, became silent. Everyone was terrified of saying the wrong thing. Vanessa held mandatory seminars every Friday afternoon. Topics included toxic masculinity in engineering and decolonizing the code base. We lost valuable development time sitting in these meetings, nodding along while she lectured us about how our unconscious biases were destroying the company. Marcus, my boss, looked more tired every day. He tried to shield us, but Vanessa reported directly to the CEO, claiming she was modernizing the company culture to attract diverse investors. I tried to avoid her, but she seemed to have fixated on me. Maybe it was because I didn't nod enthusiastically enough during her seminars. Maybe it was because I was a white male in a senior position who just wanted to code. One day, the coffee machine in the break room broke down. I am handy with tools, so I unplugged it and started looking at the valve mechanism to see if I could fix it before the caffeine withdrawal set in. A female colleague from marketing, Jessica, walked in. "Oh no, is it broken?" she asked. "Yeah, looks like a jammed valve. I think I can shimmy it loose," I said, holding a screwdriver. Jessica smiled. "My hero, I can't function without my latte." We both laughed. Vanessa walked in at that exact moment. She saw me with the screwdriver and Jessica smiling. She didn't say anything, just grabbed a bottle of water and walked out. 2 hours later, I got an email. Subject, urgent disciplinary hearing. My stomach dropped. I walked into the conference room. Vanessa was there along with Marcus. Marcus looked at the floor, refusing to meet my eyes. Vanessa had a thick file folder in front of her. "Sit down, Liam," I sat. "We have received multiple complaints regarding your conduct," Vanessa began. "Multiple from who?" I asked, my voice rising slightly. "We protect the anonymity of survivors," she said sharply. "Survivors. I am a software engineer, not a war criminal. What is going on? You were observed today brandishing a weapon in the break room and making a female colleague feel unsafe." I stared at her, my mouth agape. A weapon? It was a screwdriver. I was fixing the coffee machine. Jessica was there, ask her. Jessica stated she felt pressured to compliment you to de-escalate the situation because you were holding a sharp object. That is insane. That is an absolute lie. Marcus finally spoke up, his voice quiet. "Vanessa, I know Liam, he fixes stuff, he wasn't threatening anyone." Vanessa turned on Marcus with a venomous look. "Marcus, if you defend aggressive behavior, you are part of the problem. Do you want a report in your file too?" Marcus shut his mouth, looking defeated. Vanessa turned back to me. "This is part of a pattern, Liam, the incident with Sophie. The incident with Jessica, and now I have a report that you have been staring inappropriately at female interns." Blood rushed to my face. "That is a lie. I don't even talk to the interns unless they ask for code reviews. Perception is reality, Liam. If women feel stared at, then you are staring. It is called the female gaze theory. You are creating a hostile work environment. So I am being punished for things I didn't do, based on your twisted interpretation of reality. Your defensive aggression is only confirming my assessment. You are suspended for 2 weeks, unpaid, pending a full investigation into your harassment of female staff. Harassment? You are destroying my reputation over nothing. Hand over your badge and laptop. Security will escort you out." I felt like I was in a nightmare. I handed over my gear, my hands shaking with rage. Marcus walked me to the elevator. "I'm sorry, Liam," he whispered. "She has the CEO's ear. She told him we are at risk of a massive lawsuit if we don't purge toxic elements. I can't stop her." "This isn't right, Marcus, you know it." "I know, but I have a mortgage and kids. I can't lose this job." I walked out of the building into the rainy Seattle afternoon. I went home to my apartment and sat on the couch in silence for hours. I felt dirty, like a criminal. Harassment. The word echoed in my mind. It is a career death sentence. If she puts that on my official record, I will never work in this industry again. Seattle is a small tech hub. Word travels fast. I spent the first 2 days of my suspension drinking whiskey and staring at the ceiling. I ignored texts from my friends. I felt ashamed, even though I knew I had done nothing wrong. On the third day, anger replaced the shame. I realized that if I let her win, she would do this to someone else. I needed to fight back, but how? She was the HR director. She controlled the narrative. I needed legal advice. I remembered my cousin's friend, Alina. Alina was a high-powered employment lawyer who specialized in corporate litigation. I called her and explained the situation. She listened without interrupting. Liam, this sounds like a classic power play. She is building a portfolio of cleaned house metrics to justify her salary and eventual promotion. You are just a statistic to her. What can I do? It is her word against mine. Not necessarily. Did she give you copies of the complaints? No. Did she interview you formally with a witness present besides your boss? Just Marcus. Okay. Here is what we are going to do. We are going to trigger the discovery process. If she claims there are complaints, she has to produce them. If she fabricated them, she has committed fraud. But I am just suspended. I haven't been fired yet. We don't wait for you to get fired. We file a counter-complaint for hostile work environment and defamation. We go on the offensive. Alina agreed to take my case pro bono because she hated ideological grifters who ruined real anti-harassment efforts. She drafted a scary-looking legal letter addressed to the CEO and the legal department of my company. The letter demanded immediate preservation of all evidence, including emails, Slack logs, and security camera footage from the break room. It also demanded the specific dates, times, and names associated with the alleged accusations. I sent the letter. 2 days later, I got a call from the company's external general counsel, a man named Robert. Robert sounded nervous. Liam, we received your counsel's letter. We would like to resolve this amicably. Perhaps we can extend your leave with pay while we sort this out. My lawyer handles all communication now, Robert. I hung up. Alina called me the next day. They are panicking. They don't have the written complaints. If they did, they would have shoved them in our faces. So what happens now? Now we wait. They have to conduct an actual investigation now that legal is involved. They can't just let Vanessa run a kangaroo court. Meanwhile, back at the office, things were falling apart. I heard this from Sophie, who messaged me on LinkedIn since my Slack was deactivated. She told me that Vanessa was on a rampage. She was pulling women into her office one by one, trying to get them to sign statements against me. Sophie wrote, she called me in yesterday. She had a pre-written statement saying you made sexual comments to me. She told me to sign it. My heart stopped. What did you do? I typed back. I refused. I told her that was a lie. She told me that if I didn't support other women, I had no future at this company. She threatened to fire me for insubordination. Sophie, do not let her bully you. Record everything. I am. Everyone is terrified. Jessica told me Vanessa tried to get her to say you waved the screwdriver at her threateningly. Jessica told her to go to hell. This was the smoking gun. Vanessa was manufacturing evidence. I screenshotted Sophie's messages and sent them to Alina. Alina called me, sounding excited. This is it, Liam. This is witness tampering. This is illegal. Can Sophie testify? I don't know. She is scared for her job. Tell her if she helps us, we will include a protection clause for her in the settlement, or she can sue them too. The date for my formal hearing was set for the following Monday. I put on my best suit. I met Alina in the lobby of the office building. She looked fierce, holding a leather briefcase. Ready to burn it down? She asked with a smirk. Let's do it. We walked into the executive boardroom. Vanessa was there looking smug. Marcus was there looking pale. Robert, the general counsel, was there. And the CEO, a man named David who usually only cared about stock prices, was sitting at the head of the table. Vanessa started speaking immediately. Thank you all for coming. We are here to finalize the termination of Liam for gross misconduct and sexual harassment. Alina cut her off. Actually, we are here to discuss the extortion and defamation campaign orchestrated by your HR director, Vanessa scoffed. Typical patriarchal deflection, blaming the messenger. Robert cleared his throat. Let's stick to the facts. Vanessa opened her folder. I have statements here from multiple women who felt threatened by Liam. She slid 3 pieces of paper across the table. Valina picked them up and read them. These are unsigned, Alina said calmly. The victims wish to remain anonymous to protect themselves from retaliation, Vanessa countered. Anonymous accusations cannot be the basis for termination in a court of law, Vanessa, Robert said, looking annoyed at her. I represent the women of this company, Vanessa shouted. Their truth is valid regardless of a signature. Alina pulled a document from her briefcase. We have a sworn affidavit from Sophie, the junior developer. Would you like to hear what she says? Vanessa went pale. Alina read aloud. On Tuesday the 14th, Vanessa called me into her office and presented me with a false statement accusing Liam of sexual harassment. When I refused to sign it, she threatened my employment. She stated that truth was irrelevant compared to the greater good of the movement. The room went dead silent. The CEO, David, looked at Vanessa. Is this true? Sophie is suffering from internalized misogyny, Vanessa stammered. She is protecting her abuser. It is a common psychological response. Alina pulled out another paper. And here is an affidavit from Jessica. She states that Vanessa attempted to coerce her into classifying a maintenance repair as a violent threat. Jessica explicitly states Liam was helpful and kind. Vanessa stood up, her face red. This is a conspiracy. You are all conspiring to silence a strong woman in power. This is exactly why I was hired, to fight this toxic boys' club. Alina looked at the CEO. David, your HR director is currently exposing this company to a multi-million-dollar lawsuit for defamation, wrongful termination, and witness tampering. If Liam is not reinstated immediately with a full apology, and if this woman is not removed, we will file in Superior Court tomorrow. David was a businessman. He knew how to count money. He looked at Vanessa with cold fury. Vanessa, did you threaten staff to manufacture these complaints? I was empowering them to speak their truth, she screamed. Did you write the statements yourself? David asked. I provided a template. They were too scared to find the words. Robert, the general counsel, put his head in his hands. Oh my God, David stood up. Vanessa, you are placed on immediate administrative leave. Security will escort you out. You can't do this to me. I will sue you. I will go to the press. I will tell everyone this company hates women, Vanessa shrieked. Go ahead, Alina said coolly. We have the affidavits proving you are a liar. No one will hire you again. Security guards entered the room. Vanessa was practically dragged out, screaming about the patriarchy and injustice. The silence after she left was heavy. David turned to me. Liam, I apologize. I had no idea it had gone this far. We trusted her to improve the culture, not destroy it. She terrorized the whole team, David. Good people were looking for other jobs. I know. We will fix it, Robert looked at Alina. What will it take to settle this now? Alina smiled. Full reinstatement for Liam, back pay for the suspension, a 20% raise for the distress, and a written apology. Also complete immunity and a raise for Sophie and Jessica for their honesty. David nodded immediately. Done, just please no lawsuit. I walked out of that boardroom feeling lighter than air. Marcus was waiting in the hallway. He looked like he was about to cry. Liam, I am so sorry, I was a coward. It is okay, Marcus, she fooled everyone at first, but you have to have your teams back next time. I will. I promise. I returned to the office floor the next day. When I walked in, the silence broke. Sophie ran over and hugged me. Jessica gave me a high five. Even the quiet guys in the back clapped. The dark cloud that Vanessa had brought with her had lifted. We went back to being a meritocracy. We made jokes again. We wore hoodies. We coded. Vanessa tried to sue the company for discrimination, but once the affidavits came out in discovery, her lawyer dropped her. Last I heard, she was working as a freelance consultant, but her reputation in the city was ruined. Alina told me that word got around the HR circles in Seattle that Vanessa was a liability who fabricated evidence. She had tried to weaponize a movement meant to protect people, just to feed her own ego and power, and she paid the price for it. I am still at the company. I was promoted to lead architect last month. Sophie is now a mid-level developer and is crushing it. We have a new HR director named Sarah. Sarah is great. She makes sure we get paid on time, handles benefits, and brings donuts on Fridays. She doesn't care about our unconscious bias as long as we are respectful and get the work done. Sometimes I think about how close I came to losing everything. It taught me that truth only wins if you fight for it. And that having good friends and a shark of a lawyer is better than being innocent alone. Life is good. The code compiles, and the coffee machine is working perfectly.